on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. The presidential contest just got a little bit more interesting, and I'm not talking about the entrance of Mike Pence or Chris Christie.
Oh, what?
I'm talking about the entrance of Cornel West. Cornel West running under the People's Party banner, whatever that will turn out to be. Cornel West, good old school black nationalist Marxist. But I got to tell you, if the debates he has with Robbie George, also a professor at Princeton, as Cornel West was, the debates he have with Robbie George about actual big issues of the day and how a free society should be organized, if those get further amplification, then it's all the better that Cornel West runs for president, because you get a lot of exposure to the sorts of things that Cornel West says from the Democrat socialists on TV and who are put on TV by their comm shops. You don't get much exposure to perhaps the last conservative Catholic professor in the Ivy League, Robbie George, and actually their interactions are very good. We're going to try and get Cornel West on the show because he'd be fun to talk to. He is fun to talk to. I've talked to him before, actually. Here's Cornel West's presidential announcement by video.
I come from a tradition where I care about you. I care about the quality of your life. I care about whether you have access to a job with a living wage, decent housing, women having control over their bodies, health care for all, de-escalating the destruction of the planet, the destruction of American democracy. Democracy creates disruption. It creates an eruption. It creates an interruption. Wide from below, the energies of everyday people is manifest. And I know there are precious people in your life who you care for. That's why it's important for you to be involved, important for you to participate. We're not talking about hating anybody. We're talking about loving. We're talking about affirming. We're talking about empowering those who have been pushed to the margins, because neither political party wants to tell the truth about Wall Street, about Ukraine, about the Pentagon, about big tech. Neo-fascists like Brother Trump or milquetoast neoliberals like Brother Biden. Wow, I'm so happy to make a world-shaking decision. You know what I mean? Well, I know gangsters when I see them. And gangster's not a subjective expression. It's an objective condition. Do we have what it takes? We shall see. But some of us are going to go down fighting, go down swinging with style and a smile, accenting the best in you and trying to tease out the best in me. Let's do it together.
All right, Cornel West for president. It'd be fun to have him on a debate stage, I'll tell you that much.
But that's if they let Biden debate.
Well, I mean, he's a third-party candidate, so it would be in the general election.
General election, right. Yeah. But if they even...
If Biden even makes the race, I'm still not convinced. Bret Baier joins us now. He's the host of Fox News Special Report, don't you know, 5 p.m. Chicago time during the week. Number one best-selling author of To Rescue the Republic, Ulysses S. Grant, The Fragile Union, and the Crisis of 1876. And he's also moderating the Senate Project forums, starting with one on Monday at 10 a.m. Chicago time, a forum that features Republican Senator Joni Ernst and Democrat Senator Jeanne Shaheen. That's going to be streamed on Fox Nation. We'll talk to him about that as well. Bret, thanks for being with us again. Appreciate it.
Good morning. I'm here with style and a smile.
Yeah, you and Cornel.
Yeah.
You got to get Cornel on the show too.
Oh, I'm sure.
I will.
We'll see who holds their, can go toe to toe with them. Who does better, me or you?
That'd be good. That'd be good.
So what about on the Republican side, the less exciting side, with the entrance of Pence and Christie and, the path for relevance for either one of those gentlemen?
Well, listen, it's going to be interesting that, much like we saw in 2012, where the early debates were kind of all about anybody but Romney. We had Herman Cain, we had Newt Gingrich, we had Rick Santorum, and everybody had their moment in the sun and big debate moments. I think we're going to see a little bit like that in the former president versus the rest of the field, anybody but Trump. The more of those there are, maybe the more it splits the field. But the conventional wisdom is that you get to just a few by the time you get to actual contests.
But the concern, and this was expressed in the Wall Street Journal editorial about Christie's entrance, is, if Christie serves as a hatchet man on Trump, great. But if he doesn't stay in that lane and he starts joining Nikki Haley, who's sort of doing it mildly right now, but hatcheting Ron DeSantis, hatcheting others, if it becomes we've got to take DeSantis out of the number 2 spot to get me into the number 2 spot, then there is great worry among those who are looking for anyone but Trump, and particularly DeSantis.
No, that's true. And I think that Chris Christie's sole job is to shake up the race, and he's already said that. He'll be on special report tomorrow. His announcement, I think, is in New Hampshire tonight. But those are some of the questions I really want to get into about the realism and whether he's just the suicide bomber rhetorically that we saw in New Hampshire at the debate that took out Marco Rubio.
It's sort of interesting too, because Chris Christie today speaks to Ron DeSantis. Ron DeSantis' need to go. Chris Christie missed his window arguably in 2012, and to come back a decade later after you've been out of office this long, even though you've been on TV, kind of, sort of,
doing it?
It just shows you how quickly your political currency dissipates.
Yeah, I think it's one of the reasons that DeSantis is choosing to run. Christie is kind of the blueprint for that. He was on the cover of Time magazine back in 2011. He was, in the mix. Everybody thought of him as a fighter that was going after teachers' unions. He was in the national conversation, and then he missed that window and then ran in 2016, and obviously we saw what happened. So I do think that was part of the calculus why DeSantis at 44 is getting in this race.
Well, do you think the American people have an appetite, though, for a Republican debate with bombastic Chris Christie, Ron DeSantis, President Trump, Nikki Haley? It just sounds, I'm already sick of the infighting between DeSantis and Trump, and we're not even there yet.
Yeah, I wish I could say that there's not an appetite for it, but I do think that there is an appetite for it as far as viewership. I think for the good of the party, you have an excellent argument to make that more civil discussion, more talking about substance is really, what would be good. It would be the chicken and broccoli. But Donald Trump has brought in the cotton candy, and I think that there are some people that think, you got to play on that field. Marco Rubio tried it back in 2016, and it failed miserably for him. So we'll see how it goes this time.
Speaking of Trump, a lot of reporting in the last day or so about indictment watch from the feds on the classified docs case. What is your sense of where that investigation stands?
Well, it seems like it is picking up. The Trump lawyers were at the DOJ yesterday. After that, Jim Jordan asked for a specific list of what they're looking at. So it suggests to me that they're very concerned that an indictment is coming soon. The grand jury is currently meeting. And there's a lot of elements to this that I don't think we have the full visibility on exactly what they have. But they clearly have witnesses that suggest that, he was not declassifying the material. He knew it wasn't declassified. He knew it was classified, and he was moving it after he was subpoenaed. At least that's the argument that's being made. So we'll see if it all develops like that. In about 15 minutes, we'll put out a release. But I have an interview with the former president on June 19th at his place in Bedminster, New Jersey. So we'll sit down for an hour, he and I, and we'll do it in 2 parts on special report.
Am I recalling this correct? Maybe you should have Kash Patel with the president. Am I recalling correctly that Kash Patel, at the outset of this, when the raid occurred, said that he personally was there when Trump was declassifying some of the documents, or some or all of the documents that are in question? Did Kash Patel make a representation to that effect?
He did on an interview or two, and I don't know if he's been back defending that. He has said that he verbally declassified it, and obviously the president has that power, but it is a process. And if it's true that they have witnesses and they have evidence that the president knew that it's classified when he couldn't show it to his people at Mar-a-Lago, it gets sticky. And the former president has gone back to the declassification answer. But with whatever comes out, I think there are other questions to ask. Obviously, my interview will focus on a whole bunch of different things, not just that, but looking forward to it.
Well, and we're also anticipating a decision by the Fulton County DA this month on that criminal investigation as well, aren't we?
There should be. It might be not until late summer, but it's definitely also coming to a head. So, yeah, those are two big cases. You've got the handling of the documents. You've got the Georgia case. You also have the special counsel on January 6th and all of the iterations behind the scenes with that.
So this debate or forum that you're hosting with Iowa Senator Joni Ernst, New Hampshire Senator Jeanne Shaheen, that is. You've done this before with Bernie and Lindsey. This is good, getting people from different points of view in the same place so people can hear ideas and policy positions and arguments side by side, right?
Yeah, and it's just an interesting effort. I do the thing Common Ground on my show. It's kind of a spin-off from this. The Senate Project started with that debate between Lindsey Graham and Bernie Sanders. What's really cool is the environment. It's at the Edward M. Kennedy Library and Institute, Ted Kennedy's place in Boston, where there's a full-scale replica of the U.S. Senate floor and chamber, and that's where it happens. So it streams on Fox Nation, 10 a.m. Monday your time, and then we'll run an hour special on the same thing Sunday night that week on Fox News Channel. But we've had Bernie Sanders, Lindsey Graham, we had Chris Murphy and Rob Portman, and now we have Jeanne Shaheen, Joni Ernst, and there'll be a fourth installment in September. And it's an effort to do what Ted Kennedy and Orrin Hatch did back in their day. They were ideological, very different, but lions in the Senate, and came together on big pieces of legislation.
He is Bret Baier, host of Fox News Special Report, 5 p.m. weekdays, Chicago time. Best-selling author of To Rescue the Republic, USS Grant, The Fragile Union, and the Crisis of 1876, and moderating the Senate Project, the debate discussion on this Monday at 10 a.m. our time, between Senator Joni Ernst of Iowa, Senator Jeanne Shaheen of New Hampshire, 10 a.m. streaming on Fox Nation and rebroadcast, as Bret just mentioned. Bret, thank you as always. Appreciate it.
You bet. See you.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro